Greetings, Terrarians, Chaos here. Today I'm going to kick off another build challenge series that I'm going to call Builds with Bosses. Simply put, I'm going to be attempting to make builds while bosses try to stop me. But first, I wanted to announce that over on my Discord server, I'm going to be hosting a monthly build competition. Every month, a theme will be selected and you will be able to submit a creation for the competition. The rules will be outlined within the Discord server. The top 3 winners will have their builds showcased during one of my videos the following month, and the first place winner will be gifted a month of Nitro as well. So if you are interested in participating in the Build of the Month competition, you could find a link to my Discord server in the description below. For this build series, I want to challenge myself, obviously, but I'm not going to be restricting my materials. Instead, I'm going to be restricting my HP and equipment. I don't want to be able to just fly around or teleport around the boss by using wings, mounts, or the Rod of Discord, nor do I want to use summons to protect me or weapons to kill the boss, because then there obviously wouldn't be any challenge. Starting with the Eye of Cthulhu and not the King Slime, the idea is to go through weaker bosses and work my way up to harder bosses. But the reason why I'm doing it in this order is because at the time of release for this video, it should be March 3rd, which will be the 3rd year anniversary of Breath of the Wild. And I wanted to do a build inspired by Breath of the Wild. The first thing that came to mind is an observatory that is built on top of a ruined lighthouse for this tech lab. So what I want to do is build a kind of medieval ruins with a big telescope on top of it. So it's not going to be exactly like the building in Breath of the Wild, but it will be inspired by it. And since it's an observatory, I thought it would be funny, I guess, to use the Eye of Cthulhu because it's an eye and it observes you. I do have a couple of mods in use today. I have Cheat Sheet to help get me a suspicious looking eye because, as you can see here, my inventory is full. I even had to put something in the trash bin. I didn't want to place chests and I didn't want to use inventory mods because thumbing through multiple inventories while trying to dodge a boss and do a build is just going to be too much. So I wanted all of my inventory on one page. I also have Heroes mod because I'm going to pause the time. As you can tell, it's already paused. So I guess the only thing left to do is to make it nighttime and to get started. So let's go. So the first thing I'm going to do is just place some torches around so that we could see the area that we're working with, and maybe I don't actually want to place them on top of these trees here because I'm going to be needing to clear some of these trees out. And I did practice this a little bit, but not a whole lot, so I don't know exactly how this is going to turn out. Luckily, I can kill these things pretty easily with my hammer and my axe, so all the ads aren't going to be too much of a problem. But obviously, all of these tools work a lot faster than if I'm using tools that can accidentally kill the boss because they're overpowered. So I'm going to have to be careful about mining and breaking walls because it can't be done in a single click now. I can kill these enemies pretty quickly, but that's about it. So I guess what I'm going to be doing is just clearing out an area for a false foundation here. I'm thinking the build can be right around this area. I don't want it to be too wide. Need to decide exactly how long this is going to be while I try to dodge bosses. Probably maybe to about that tree over there. If I can do this without getting myself killed. Okay, measuring is turning out to be pretty hard. I might just forego that entirely, but let's go ahead and start digging out an area over here. Kill some of those guys off too. Hopefully they drop some hearts, and let's just pop a heal too because I don't have a strong heal and I want to be able to survive, so I'm going to put it on cooldown. Yes, this is going to be a very challenging build for me because I spend a lot of time focusing on what I'm building and not a whole lot of time focusing on the environment around me. So being able to watch the Eye of Cthulhu while I build is going to be a bit of a pain. And as you can see here, these tools are taking forever to actually dig their way through any of the blocks or the walls. Now, this isn't a no-death challenge, so if I die, it's not the end of the world. But it will put me back on time, which will be unfortunate. So I'm going to try not to die, if at all possible. We'll see how that goes. I'm obviously not doing a very great job of dodging the attacks right now because I'm trying to visualize where everything's gonna go, and visualizing while I'm, fighting off ads, waves of ads, as well as the boss itself, is turning out to be much more of a difficult task than I had thought it would be. Of course, that's the point of a challenge, right? So I guess I'm getting exactly what I wished for. So here's probably going to be where the house is going to start, right in here. And then let's grab some dynasty wood, and some brown paint, turn on my paint sprayer. Kill these guys off. Yeah, a little bit of HP is nice. And we're going to lay the floor of the house out. And that's another thing. I had considered putting on a cobalt shield because I'm obviously going to be taking a lot of hits, and I want to be able to not be knocked back while I'm building for, obvious reasons. But I guess having a cobalt shield from the dungeon before I do the Eye of Cthulhu is not exactly an accurate representation of armor. I know it's possible for you to just rush over and kill Skeletron before you kill the Eye of Cthulhu, so it wouldn't be completely out of the question, but it would feel a little cheesy to me to do. So I'm not doing it for this particular build. I probably won't do it for the King Slime either, but Eye of Cthulhu, I guess I'm gonna have to deal with some knockback. After that, I'll definitely have at least a cobalt shield, and once I get to hard mode bosses, I'll start doing things like Ankh shields, because I'm not worried about farming for the materials or anything like that. I could just cheat them in. That's not the point of this challenge, but I do want to make it realistic to what I'd be doing if I were to actually be attempting this in a legitimate playthrough, even though I'm not. So obviously I haven't gotten a whole lot done. I'm probably going to speed this up a little bit here, or at least do a cut. I'm not sure. I might time lapse or cut. But I'm definitely going to be building slower than I anticipated. When I had practiced this earlier, all I had done is practicing dodging. I hadn't actually practiced any building because I wanted to see if I could survive the fight, which I can. I just failed to take into consideration how hard focusing on the build would be. So let's go ahead and speed this up a little bit, and let's see if I can get this false foundation done before I die. Okay, so I'm going to be leaving the foundation without any walls for now, just to let some grass grow. Since this is going to be ruins anyway, I don't want for it to look like it's completely barren under there. It wouldn't really make a whole lot of sense. So I'm gonna let that grow for a bit while I focus on the ruined structure itself. And it is much easier to dodge this guy and build while I'm not talking. So I might end up doing quite a bit of time-lapsing here and just talking audio over that, just to make this a bit of an easier challenge for me so I don't end up getting myself wrecked repeatedly. But for now, let's go ahead and talk and see how things go. I'm going for my usual medieval appearance. If I could not break it every time I try to remove extra blocks that I place from being knocked around. I'm telling you, building with knockback is going to be the hardest part about this boss fight for sure. But It's rather enjoyable. This is quite the challenge, but I am enjoying it quite a bit. So I'm using some ebonstone brick here, and I'm using some palladium column to get the wall texture that I like to do for stone style medieval builds. I'm going to be ruining this in terms of appearance, making it look like ruins, by mixing in some stone block in there as well, just to make it look like it's crumbling in places. And I also want it to be a little bit offset to kind of look like perhaps it had 2 floors, but the top floor had collapsed, but there's still a wall remaining. And now that I'm talking, of course, I'm probably going to get myself killed, but that's okay. As I said, the point of the challenge is not to not die, it's just to see if I can do this, which I mean, I'm doing alright, I guess. So I'm going to go ahead and keep pressing on and see where we get. While you watch me jump around desperately trying to place only a few blocks, if you are enjoying this challenge and you would like to see more bosses done in this fashion, let me know by subscribing to the channel. We are currently working towards a goal of 100,000 subscribers by the end of June, so I would be extremely grateful to you if you helped the channel reach that goal by hitting the subscribe button. Okay, so I guess the hammer is doing a lot more damage to it than I thought it would, so obviously I just pushed it into phase 2 really early into the build. And I say early, but I've actually been doing this for quite a long time. I'm just having a really hard time of it. This is an incredibly difficult challenge. So yes, I guess I'm facing phase 2. If I happen to kill it, because it is taking increased damage now, I will just spawn a new one in. It's not going to be the end of the world. I can always do that. So I did not anticipate this hammer and pickaxe causing this much damage to it, but we'll just keep going and see where it heads. I'm definitely going to die now that it's in this phase though, because focusing on where to place blocks while I'm dodging these attacks, which happen fairly frequently I might add, is really difficult. I'm actually going to probably die right now. Maybe. Let's see how long I can keep at 1 HP. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to get back in. I'm going to spawn a new boss, and we're going to pick up. Anytime I die, I'm not going to bother building anything, because obviously that would be contradictory to the point of the challenge. So I'll just spawn in a new boss, get started, and yeah, let's continue this insanely difficult challenge right now. Another difficult thing is I'm using these hammers to clear out these ads so I don't die immediately, but every time I get knocked around, I'm frequently punching holes into the side of this building. And while I do want it to look ruined, I don't want it to look ruined like that. So it is an interesting and really unique challenge to all of this as well. So what I'm going to do here is probably just take a series of hits while I'm grappled and just punch out areas where I want to place some stone. Hopefully I don't die. Oops, I don't want to remove any of the palladium though, because the palladium is going to appear to be thinner than the stone block. And if I place stone in any of the spaces where the palladium is, it's going to look unusually thick in an area where it shouldn't look thick at all. So I'm going to try and avoid doing that. And hopefully not just completely hammer this building to death like I'm already doing. And I have to keep an eye on my healing potion cooldown, which I'm not doing very good at because I'm trying to keep track of my inventory, keep track of where the build is, and also try to envision everything that I want to do. I did a practice run of the building itself, not while I was doing the fight, because it would just be a waste of time if I had fought the Eye of Cthulhu while doing the build and it was a success and I had to do it all over again. So I wanted to do those all in one session. Unfortunately, that means I'm finding out how hard it is to build in one session as well, but, you know, live and learn. And this will help me out in future bosses as well. Okay, so I've got the decent part of the ruins going on here, at least the overall shape of the ruins. What I want to do now is maybe just rough up the area a little bit. Sitting in the Eye of Cthulhu would probably be a bad idea, so I should probably avoid doing that if I can. So I'm going to rough up the area by just hammering little segments of it. Maybe I'll actually save that for later, and I'll move to the background walls. I'm kind of happy with how the area beneath the build is looking, so I think I'll go ahead and place that false foundation now. Normally I would have some vertical beams with shadewood fence in there. I don't know if I'm going to be able to place anything that accurately while the boss is chasing me. I'll give it a try and see how it goes, but it's not looking promising. I am placing all these torches around so that you can see and I can see better, but I will be removing them once the build is done, so don't consider those as part of the build necessarily. So where's the wall that I want to use? Oh, there it is. That's another thing. Looking through my inventory while grabbing whatever material I need while trying to dodge the boss and dodge and kill the ads is rather challenging. Luckily, placing walls is a lot easier than placing blocks because I can actually just run away while I place them, as long as I'm trying to place them in a line. If I'm not, I don't know how it's going to go, but we'll get to that in a bit. Let's go ahead and try to do the shadewood fence and see how it goes. Since the false foundation's not really thick, they're not going to be perfectly evenly spaced. I'm just going to have to live with that. Actually, they turned out perfectly evenly spaced. Never mind. I'm going to give myself credit for that one. Alright, so next I'm going to do the background walls for the interior of the build in this ruin segment at least. It's like I lose my place every time I reopen my inventory. So there you go. I took a hit and got fences in places where I don't want them to be. So now I've got to go through and knock those fences out, while probably also taking hits and probably also knocking out walls that I don't want to knock out. And obviously shaping blocks that I didn't want to shape. This is quite the challenge. Don't get me wrong, I'm loving this. I've never done anything quite like this before. But yes, very challenging. Okay, health potion is coming off cooldown. Not a whole lot of health. I really need these guys to start dropping some hearts or I'm gonna get my second death. Now, obviously the deaths don't matter too much to me in this challenge, but I would like for my death count to not be, you know, incredibly low. So, or wait, incredibly high. Whatever, you get what I'm trying to say. I don't want to die a lot. I'm okay if I die, but I don't want to. It might even be easier to just ignore misshaped blocks, break them. Oh, I didn't even see that eye. Break them and replace them, than actually trying to hammer them. So I might just do that. And I'm back down to 1 HP, so probably gonna die here. Oh, there it goes. I mistimed his charge. So yes, obviously I'm not very good at Terraria, particularly in boss fights, which is why you don't see me doing them often. This is a really challenging way to get into doing them, but it is fun. So I'm just going to run back, say hi to my tombstone that ended up really far away, and get another boss going. And I've got a slime rain. Fantastic. This I had not taken into consideration. I'm using Heroes mod to disable enemy spawns, but for some reason or another, I guess slimes from a slime rain don't count as enemy spawns. I guess just as the spawns from the Eye of Cthulhu don't count as enemy spawns. Either way, this is going to be really annoying. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just die and end this fight now. Get rid of the slime rain, because the point of the challenge was not to take on 2 bosses and an event at the same time. The point of the challenge was to build this while fighting him. So I'm going to take a little break here, get rid of this slime rain, and then respawn the boss and start over again, because this is just not going to be possible. I'm going to spend my entire time fending off slimes, and then I'm just going to die as soon as the king slime spawns. Anyway, so yes, that's what I'm going to do, and I'll be right back. Okay, so that pesky slime rain is finally done. As you can see, I haven't touched anything with the building. Let's get going again. And I'll wait for the boss to show up before I get going. Alright, well that was a pain in the butt. I guess I should have figured that it was going to show up. A slime rain usually comes at the most inopportune times, but it is what it is, right? Terraria be Terraria sometimes. I've already had a rain, so why not a slime rain? That's another thing about Heroes Mod I'm enjoying, is the ability to just toggle off the rain, because if this got even darker, and it's already hard for you guys to see, it would not be very good. I do wish there was an option to toggle off the slime rain, however. That would really be nice. But oh well. I could just deal with it in the way that I dealt with it. So, we've got a lot of the detail work on the interior of the ruins done. What I want to do is actually create a hole over here. The house is still going to be a valid NPC house. Don't ask me why I want to make these valid NPC houses, but I do. And so I'm going to have to limit how much space I create over there, but I am going to open up a hole. Okay, so up next, I'm not going to work on the decorations for the interior yet, but I am going to... I don't know why that reshaped the block. It's attached to the platform. That's really weird. I want that to look rigid. Okay, I'm going to build the small house off to the side next. And so this house is going to be made out of wood and stone. I want the bottom of it to be a wooden support, so I'm going to grab some Dynasty wood and some brown paint and heal and dodge that attack because I don't want to be a dummy. There we go. Let me just place that single block without getting knocked back and throwing it somewhere that I don't want it to be thrown. And then I need to create a small platform right here for me to build the house on, preferably without taking too many hits. Any more? One more? Nope. I never know how many is going to come out. Sometimes he does 3, 4, or 5. I have a really hard time determining how many eyes he's going to shoot out before he starts attacking. Obviously that's because all I do in this game is build. I don't really fight bosses, so I don't learn their patterns, which is why this is even more of a challenge for me. If you're having fun watching me build a house while being attacked by bosses, and you have ideas of what I should build for other bosses, let me know in the comment section. And if you attempt this challenge for yourself, be sure to drop by my Discord server and share your build with the build channel. I would love to see what you manage to pull off. Coming up this week, I will be making the next Commenter Day video, so if you'd like to help decide what I build next, be sure to check out last month's Commenter Day video and leave a like on any request that you would like to see me fulfill. There will be a link to that video in the description below, so be sure to check it out. I will also be working on a special project for another YouTuber this week, and this time it's neither chippy nor cheesy, so keep an eye out later in the week for something interesting. There was no way I was going to be able to place walls without knocking all the other walls out in this house while he's in phase 2. He just attacks way too frequently. So, yeah, just I had no choice but to die in that situation. Teeny tiny room. The task of placing a bunch of little tiny walls without knocking all of the other walls out that I had already placed. Just not doable. That falling star just pushed him into phase 2. Fantastic. Precision building in this situation is not going to be fun. Thank you, Falling Star. I really appreciate that. It was so kind of you to come by and help me out in such a magical way. Alright, well, let's try and make this staircase while dodging these charges. I don't know how well that's gonna go. Let's wait for that one. Okay, here we go. 3 blocks. Let's just take the hit. Are you kidding me? I can't place them when the Eye of Cthulhu's in the way? That's annoying. Okay. Stairs are down, except I gotta be extra. Of course, I would break the one stair I didn't want to break. Okay, got a couple more that I gotta clear out. Yeah. There we go. Well, that was more challenging than it needed to be. Well, that was a fairly long run in Phase 2 compared to my other attempts, but dang, it is hard to build when he is in Phase 2, because those constant attacks are insane. Okay, so we're almost done here at this point. Right now, I'm working on a seating area for the telescope that'll be covered up. And then after that, what I want to do is start adding the small details around. I'll probably add an NPC house in there with some decorations, an NPC house down below with some more decorations. I just wanted to take a moment to thank all of you that have made it this far into the video. Originally, I thought this entire build would be done in about an hour, which would turn the video into around 15 minutes. But once I started building, the intensity of the boss fight actually turned this into a whopping 3-hour build. Normally, I would just create a time-lapse video for any build longer than 3 hours. However, since I was doing this challenge with a live commentary, I felt it would be more enjoyable for you all if I simply did a bunch of cuts and edits. So I've struggled to figure out how much content to cut and how much to show, because I end up not showing a ton of the building process itself and more of just me randomly dying. That's why we've got a bit of a longer video today, and I do apologize for that, but I hope you've enjoyed it so far. If you made it this far into the video, why don't you let me know by telling me your favorite flavor of ice cream? Mine is vanilla bean, by the way. Alright, so the build is pretty much done. Obviously, that death prevented me from finishing it. I didn't anticipate the guide moving in. I should have done the furniture absolutely last, because he just whittled down the Eye of Cthulhu much faster than I had anticipated. But, you know, sometimes you don't think of things when you're in the heat of the moment. So I'm just going to finish this up by throwing around some decorations, mostly plants at this point, and show you what the build looks like in daytime, because I'm sure it's going to look quite a bit different than it does throughout this video. Alright, so I finished the build, finally. I have to admit, that took many more minutes, or should I say hours, than I expected it to. Yeah, this build was absolutely challenging. I wanted to make this as, I guess, decorative as I could while still adhering to the challenge. I'm just cleaning up some mistakes that I couldn't see while I was working on this in the dark, which, I mean, are glaringly obvious now, to me at least. But let's go ahead and give a zoom out and show you what this place looks like in the daytime. Obviously, I need to get rid of all of these little torches here because they don't add anything to the build itself. But yeah, overall, the build looks not too bad in my opinion. Obviously, it could be better, but it could also be built without having to constantly worrying about being hit in the face by a giant eyeball, a bunch of small eyeballs, and dying. So, all things considered, I think it turned out pretty well. If you enjoyed this series and you'd like to see more of it in the future, or if you would like to see me do other bosses, let me know in the comments and show me by leaving a like and maybe consider subscribing. Thank you all very much for watching. Until next time, I'll catch you all later. Happy building.